As you can see from we discussed this last time, part 3 is mostly about business management concepts. And the reason why we need to know this as internal auditors is when we talk to the management and management explains their business, we should be able to understand some of the common terminology. When they say this is our strategy, we should be able to visualize what they mean by that. When they say just-in-time inventory, we should have some idea about what is just-in-time inventory. When they say matrix reporting, we should know what is a matrix reporting when it comes to organizational structure. If you haven't heard about these terms, if you haven't read about these, then you will not be able to relate to management. You will not be able to understand what they are trying to communicate. And that will have a direct impact on the way we do our audits, right? Because if you don't understand the processes enough, then you won't be able to audit them. So that's the reason why we do part 3, which is all about business acumen or business knowledge for internal auditing, right? Now, if you look at Roman number 5 page, you will see the various topics that we are going to cover, starting with strategic management and planning, then organizational behavior and performance management, leadership, organization structure and business processes, very important, project management and contracts, again a very important topic, because project management and contracts, like for example, when we talk about project management, there are various projects which a company undertakes to move forward on its mission, right? Implementing a system is a project. Yeah. Implementing a system is a project. Building a, a monument is a project, right? There are these different projects which a company undertakes and implements, and these require large amount of resources to be deployed efficiently and effectively. So this is a very important topic. Contracts is the basis for all relationships which the entity has with internal and external stakeholders. मतलब क्या? Contractor with the vendors, contract with the vendors, contract with the customers, contract with employees, contract with advisors. These form the basis of how we operate with them towards our mission. So that again is a very important area. Yeah, you were saying something, Satya?
Yeah, I haven't received the material.
So I'd also sent a reminder on the group saying that if you haven't received the material, please make sure that you ask for it
Okay.
before we start the classes. So why haven't we done that? See, part 3, no, wait. So why haven't you reached out to them? You knew the classes are
Uh,
starting, right?
no, Ankur, I have joined only 4 days back. I have done all the process.
When did you join? Sorry,
Four
4
days
days
back.
back?
Yeah,
Okay. So can you reach out to them ASAP after this call
sure.
and ask for the material, because you'll require the material.
Okay. They said they're going to courier me,
Maybe.
but it's been 4 days. Uh,
Yeah, so maybe just send them a email reminder again.
I'll
Mark
check.
Mark Shripal on it, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
say that I need this material before the next weekend.
Okay.
Okay, because before next Friday.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Um, the reason you require this material is because when we are going through it, we'll refer to it, obviously, right? So you need to
Yes.
have it in front of you.
Yeah.
Second thing is, you have to study on your own. So
Yeah.
before coming to class, you should study. And after going from class, you should revise the concepts and study some more,
Got it.
right? So prepare for the next class.
Yeah.
So to just make sure that the material is received.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank
Okay. Yeah. Uh, Now, where were we? Yes. So project management and contracts covers that. Workstation, databases, applications. Now we get into the IT domain. The reason we need to do all of this and the IT infrastructure, IT framework, and data analytics, information security, and disaster recovery planning is because IT is the support function for everything that business does and plays a very, very important role in the way business operates. So without that, without the knowledge of the basics of IT and IT infrastructure and the various frameworks, you cannot really do an effective audit. So that's where we cover IT. And then finally, we cover the different areas in accounting and management accounting, right? Again, because it's all about ultimately how effectively, efficiently you have deployed your resources will be clear in the way you've managed your finances and the financial results. That means knowing accounting and the basics of managerial accounting is also important. So that's the third concept that we are going to cover. Clear? Any questions? Okay, and those who have attended my lectures, they know before that if I ask a question and if you're okay with it, just give me a thumbs up so that I know that you are listening. Okay. And if you have a question, raise your hand. Okay. And if you really love something, then give me a heart emoji. Okay. So with that, let's begin. On page 1 to page 7, page 8 actually. They have provided some tips around preparing for and taking the CIA exam, which I would highly recommend you to read. Okay, we'll also cover it, but I think that you should also go through it once. On page 9, we begin with strategic management and planning. So let's understand the meaning of these various terms, right? We keep on hearing from management, it's a strategic decision. Oh, it's part of our strategy. Can anyone explain what do you mean by strategy? Yeah, fata fata. I'll just pick up the people so that there's no waiting for the next one to go forward. Satya, can you give me an idea about what is strategy?
A strategy is nothing but a plan. So to achieve the goal or
So, okay. So in that case, let's say if I say
making the things
that
in a different way.
deploy Ankur Jadhav, here is the RCM, deploy Ankur Jadhav on this particular duty of review of RCM. Is that a strategy?
The plan go, yeah, let's see.
Hmm?
Yes.
So the example that I gave you is too granular. Strategy is more grand and more high level,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now, for example, if the CAE says that we have an audit where we require, there's a bit of financial analysis involved, there's a bit of IT forensics involved, and there's a bit of strategic discussions with the management, right? If these are the kind of engagements that we have, then we will deploy a bunch of people, an integrated team consisting of IT professionals, senior management, associates, and financial analyst. That is a strategy. Okay, to have
Okay.
a bunch of to have a team which is structured to deal with these kind of integrated audits. That is a strategy.
Okay.
Ground level details are more operational in nature. Okay, so that's the difference between strategy uh, and an operational plan. A strategy is a plan to allocate resources and actions to succeed in the entity's competitive environment, obtain a competitive advantage, and attain its highest level goals. So, highest level goals for Elon Musk are what? Sustainable planet, or rather, the not sustainable planet, but the continuity of mankind. That's his high level goal, right? And his strategy is what? To invest in sustainable means of transportation and to explore outside Earth, explore other habitable nations or habitable worlds outside Mother Earth, right? That's his grand strategy. Now उसके अंदर operational details, operational plans are hiring a bunch of space exploration experts. That's more operational in nature. Clear, Satya? Give me a thumbs up
Yes, Ankur. Yes.
if it's clear. Yeah, just give me a thumbs up. That's all. Okay. So a strategy is a plan to allocate resources and actions to succeed in entity's competitive environment. Yeah, yeah. You can stay on mute, Satya. Um, obtain a competitive advantage. So first of all, what is the competitive environment? Competitive environment is your business environment and knowing who the competition is, right? What are their strategies? How are they approaching their mission? That's the competitive environment. Number of competitors, kind of competitors, right? Obtaining a competitive advantage means what? Having doing something whereby you have an advantage over your competition and attaining its highest level goal. What are my highest level goals and how do I achieve that? That is a strategy. Okay, so for the CA, his highest CA is chief of chief audit executive. For him, the highest level goal is what? Adding value to the organization through quality audits. So what is his strategy? His strategy is ensuring ongoing training and training to new joiners. Quality management during the audit, before the audit, during the audit, and after the audit, right? Hiring the best resources, deploying the most appropriate resources. That's the strategy as far as a chief audit executive is concerned. Now, what is strategic management? It's a set of decisions and activities needed to create strategies and implement them effectively. So, two things: creation of the strategies and implementation. The strategic management concerns of two things: creation and implementation of strategies. And since you are new, Satya, let me also tell you this is the way you read the material. Okay, you just don't read the material linearly. Strategic management is the set of decisions and activities needed to create strategies and implement them effectively. ये अगर आप 10 बार पढ़ोगे and then you believe that once you go to the exam you'll be fine, You'll be able to answer the question. You may not be able to answer the question, right? Because you've not attacked that sentence or the material from different angles. The way you need to read is strategic management, okay, is a set of decisions, activities needed to create strategies and implement them effectively. Good, fine. So what does strategic management entail? Oh, it is made up of two parts. It is decisions, doing certain activities. Okay. Why do I need to do that? I need to do that to create strategies and implement them. Now you know what strategic management is. And then you have to couple that with an example. Okay. And when you are coupling it with an example, you have to think about the example that I gave in class. So you need to make a note of the example that I give you in class and at the border of your page. So if you see this, if you see this, दिख नहीं रहा होगा यहाँ पे तो हाँ. Anyways, दिखेगा नहीं. But if you once you get your material, you'll see that there's quite some space at the border of your material to write notes. So I would suggest do that. ठीक है? Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. Planning. Yes, planning is what? It involves setting goals and specifying the means to be used. What should be the goals and how should we achieve it? That is planning. Okay. Where is it done? It is established at each level of a complex organization. So imagine an organization like Hindustan Lever, right? There will be a plan at global, there will be a global plan. Then there will be a countrywide plan, right? Within country, you have, let's say, multiple businesses. You have HLL packaging, let's say. You have HLL, Hindustan Lever, the FMCG company, right? Within that, those companies, you will have plans. So at multiple levels of a complex organization, you are setting the goals and you are deciding how to achieve these goals. That is called planning. Now, let's talk about the levels. So at strategic level, what do you do? At strategic level, a mission statement is drafted. Who drafts that? Board of directors. Why is that? Because your mission statement has the purposes and the values of the organization. So let's say, for example, Nike's mission. What is Nike's mission statement? You can look it up, right? Or you can look up SpaceX's mission, right? For Elon Musk. That gives the organization's purposes and values. So whatever the board of director and the company decide, they will do that in light of the mission statement, in light of the mission statement, because that has the purposes and the values of the organization. It is, like I said, it's the ultimate basis for the goals and plans at each level of the organization. So let's say if a company says that sustainable clothing or sustainable manufacturing is their mission, okay, then at each level of the organization, they will design activities and they will execute their plans in a way that they are true to their mission, right? If they are not true to their mission, then it's they are not in alignment with it, right? And someone will call them out for it. It is also the ultimate basis, and for stating the organization's primary competitive scopes. So, what are the primary competitive scopes? These scopes may extend to industries, products, applications, core competencies, market segments, vertical integration, geographical markets, which means basically when you are preparing the goals and plans at each level of the organization, you are keeping in mind all of these different parameters. What industry are we in? What products and services are we providing? What applications are we using? What are our core competencies? Means what are our strengths, weaknesses, or what are our capabilities? That's your core competencies. Okay. Business should be defined in market terms, that is, in terms of needs and customer groups. Moreover, a distinction should be made between a target market definition and a strategic market definition. So, what is this? For example, a target market for a railroad might be freight hauling, but a strategic market might be transportation of any goods and people. So, if you take the example of Uber, right? And I don't remember who said this, but one of Uber's investors most likely said it. When the founder of Uber said that this is our business, we are going to be able to take people from point A to point B, and they can call for a car um on their phone, right, using an app, and he valued it at $6 billion. Okay, the founder. When the investor heard this, the investor said, wrong. You're not in the business of carrying people from one place to another. You are actually in the business of logistics, right? Because he saw the bigger picture and he valued the company at $30 billion. Because it's not about just ferrying people from one place to another. By creating this platform, what you are actually now doing is you are looking at the demand, you are looking at the supply, you are looking at unmet demand and supply which has not been called for yet, and you are matching the two to transport anything that you want, right? So while the founder was looking at the the business more operationally, as in what is he doing on a day-to-day basis, the investor was able to see it more strategically. Do you guys get it? Yes. So yeah. So your target market for railroad may be freight hauling. Similarly, in case of Uber, your target market may be party goers, you don't who are drunk, or office goers, or other people who want to go from one state to another, right? But your strategic market might be transportation of goods and people. Okay, so that's the difference between target market and strategic market. Now, and don't worry, I mean, some of this we will skip over. So if you are thinking that, oh boss ये तो एक एक लाइन ऐसे पढ़ाएगा तो कब खत्म होगा, don't worry, मेरे सारे lectures खत्म हुए हैं और सारा portion खत्म हुआ है, so it won't be a problem. Okay, but we are easing into the things later on. Once you get a grip of it, and once we know how we need to study and how we need to read the topics, how we need to research, we'll be doing this faster. A large firm has multiple businesses, thus the concept of strategic business unit is useful for strategic planning. So if you take the example of Tata Motors, right? Too big a company. So what are the two strategic business units that they have? They have um, they have two divisions they have. They have this commercial vehicles and passenger vehicles, right? So your regular cars, SUVs, that's all passenger vehicles. Your trucks, your pickup vehicles, right? That's all commercial vehicle. So similarly, Tata Motors has that because the strategies, the group of people, the group of the target markets, the geography sometimes may be different. So based on that, you want to strategize differently for these businesses. The same strategy will not work for both these businesses. That's why you have two strategic business units, right? In case of Tata Motors, and it's called a strategic business unit, and it's useful for strategic planning by large firms. See, it has its own competitors and a manager who engages in strategic planning and is responsible for major determinants of profit. Now, what is implementation? Okay. And if you have any question, please put it in the chat box or just raise your hand. Okay. What is implementation? Implementation is the actual implementation of the plan, and how it works is we have an organization structure, someone right at the top, you have the CEO right at the top, and then you have this different people within the department who are all C-suite. You have the CTO, you have the head of HR, you have the head of finance, you have the head of operations, and then under the head of operations, you will have the operations head for different businesses. And the strategic plans are made at each of these levels. And how will this process of implementation of the plan succeed? If the structure is compatible with strategic planning, personnel have necessary abilities, organization culture is favorable or can be changed, control exists to facilitate implementation. So quick example, right? Now, when will this strategy succeed? If the structure is compatible with strategic planning, means what? Which structure are they talking about? They are talking about the organization structure. Now, if if um, if you think about Tata Motors and if you think about the passenger vehicle business, the way they are structured is they are structured into various, they have manufacturing locations at two large locations within India, right? They have all their ancillary manufacturers close to the factory. Then each of the cities they have developed a network, right, of dealers. And then each zone, I mean, they have divided the country into different zones, and each zone has a zonal leader of sales and marketing. Finance is centralized. That is the way they are structured. Now, if your strategy is to be to your ultimate goal is to, let's say, capture the majority of the passenger vehicles business, right? Now, in order to do that, you will require a network of salespeople and dealers across the country. Now, if you that means for each of these zones, you need to have someone to take care of these zones, right? If you don't have that kind of a structure, if you don't have zonal leaders to monitor this network of dealers, then you'll not succeed, right? So, for the strategic plan process to succeed, the structure should be compatible with the strategic plan. If you don't have that kind of a structure, then you cannot implement the strategic plan, right? That is what it means. Obviously, personnel should have the abilities. The culture is favorable or can be changed. Now, what is culture? Culture is a softer aspect of a person or let's say an organization. It basically means the behaviors and traits which someone demonstrates, right? Being punctual is a matter of culture, right? Quality oriented is a matter of culture. Having excellent quality of work or manufacturing, that's a matter of culture. uh, Not allowing any defects to go, I mean, any defective products to go into the market is a matter of culture. So, if the organization culture is favorable or can be changed, then strategic plans can be deployed. Now, if you think about the earlier example of the head of audit thinking about the audits, when he looks at his audits, he sees that there's a component which is IT security, there's a component which is finance related, there's a component which is strategy related. So let me deploy a mix of these professionals to execute this audit. Now, if that's why is that is because he has a culture of providing best quality services, right? Now, unlike that, let's say if there's another CAE who just wants to get the job done, right, by hook or by crook, and just wants to meet his timeline, is not so invested in the quality of the work and the value that he is providing to the organization, he would be like, okay, we don't have people, that's fine, let's deploy XYZ, and they will learn on the job, or give them some sort of a training, or forget the training, look at this checklist and ask them to do this couple of things, right? They may not be able to achieve the strategic plan. Got it? Because the culture is different, and they are not willing to change to implement that particular strategic plan. The strategic plan is to and objective is to meet that level of quality of deliverable, right? Controls exist to facilitate implementation. You have a plan, there are people implementing it, things may not go as per plan. If you don't have controls in place, then you cannot meet the strategic plan. Okay, now what is controls? What are strategic controls? They should be established to monitor progress, isolate problems, identify invalid assumptions, and take prompt corrective action. That is what strategic control should be able to do. Are we moving towards our goal? Okay. Yes, we are. In some areas, we are not. Okay. So, why are we not able to do that? That's isolation of problems. Okay. Identify invalid assumptions. Oh, we cannot do this because of so and so reason. Now, is that a valid assumption? So, if my strategy is that if my strategy is that I need to deploy a bunch of resources of different capabilities on a particular audit, the assumption may be, oh, we don't get IT resources. Challenge that and then take prompt corrective action. Okay, that is a strategic control. It helps you monitor the progress, isolate the problems, challenge the assumptions, and take prompt corrective action. Is that clear? Okay. Um, yeah. Now, the strategic controls are directed towards two things. They are directed towards external effectiveness and internal efficiency. Okay. So when we look at external effectiveness, there are three levels: business unit level, business operating system level, and at department or work center level, right? External effectiveness means external facing. When you look at the externalities of that particular business, right? So at business unit level, what would you consider as an external effectiveness measure? How are we performing in the market? What is our market share? Right? How well are we known in the market? Where do we stand in the market? This is all business unit level performance. So again, example of Tata Motors passenger vehicle. Where are we as far as passenger vehicle market is concerned? Business operating system level. Okay. So here, when they talk about at business operating system level, they are talking about at the level of the various functions. So customer satisfaction and flexibility are measured. At department or work center level, quality and delivery are measured. So that's one category of strategic control measures pertaining to external effectiveness. How effective are we externally? How effective are we um, in satisfying external parameters or people outside of the organization, right? Those who are looking at it from the outside. Second category relates to internal efficiency. How effectively are we doing things internally? So, okay, financial results are measured, then flexibility, external effectiveness, internal efficiency issue is measured, right? Flexibility means how able are we to change our plans and make changes to the original plans and carry out our business. And cycle time and waste are measured, right? These are all internal efficiency. Means ये हमको ही दिखता है सिर्फ, right? External effectiveness बाहर वालों को दिखता है. So, okay. Another example. How do we maintain our house? Oh, wow, everything is made of granite. The kitchen is made of granite, right? It is all clean. Uh, how well is the social life? Oh, there are multiple parties that happen at my place. How is the music system? Okay, so all that is external. When people they see that, okay, uh, one of the best parties, one of the best houses, most cleanest house, whatever, right? These are all things which external parties will see. Internal efficiency, अब क्या देखोगे? How much are you earning? What is your earning per hour, right? How is your health? Correct. These are all internal efficiency parameters. How efficiently are you able to do things so that externally you are effective? Is it making sense, guys? Internal and external. External is all about external parties. Okay. Okay. Next concept क्या है? Senior managers broadly define strategic goals and plans for the entire organization. That is what they do, na? See, CEO says that we are targeting a 15% growth in our current revenue. That is what they define. At this rate, the EPS will be 10 rupees per share. Correct? That's something that they decide. We are going to launch in a new country. The apparel market in Bangladesh is growing at the rate of 15%. We are going to launch Zara in 2024 in Bangladesh, right? And we expect our target market or our share of the market to be 20%. Those are strategic goals and plans for the entire organization, or those are the objectives, strategic objectives. Then the strategic plan will be, okay, we are going to hire a head there, we are going to tie up with some fashion designers there, we are going to launch uh, a manufacturing unit there. This is all the plan which they set up, right? Then comes the next level of managers who implement that plan. Okay, so middle managers develop the tactical goals and plans needed to achieve the strategic goals. So middle manager, country ka HR head, he will be the one then to hire people in manufacturing, to hire people in operations, to hire people in finance, right? The finance guys will be the one who will hire head of accounts, head of finance, AP head, AR head, build a structure underneath, right? So they are the middle managers who develop tactical goals. What is tactical goals? They are short term and more detailed than strategic plans. CEO ने तो बोल दिया, okay, we are going to grow at 20% in Bangladesh. We discussed it with the board and came up with a plan, broad plan. We said, this is what we want to do. I believe in it, right? It's the tactical managers who actually put it in place. Okay. Lower managers and supervisors develop operational goals and plans to achieve the strategic and tactical goals. Or further down, if you see, right? The HR said that we have to hire CFO, we have to hire these guys, ye wo. HR ke niche, then they are the ones to deal with Naukri, Monster, and these other people, and they are going to hire consultants, give them the job description, tell them these are the kind of people we want, then screen them, then have meetings with them, right? To interview them and find out whether they are fit for the job. So lower level managers further go in for operational goals and plans to achieve the strategic and tactical goals. Okay. So you have your strategic goals 3 to 5 years के लिए क्या plan रहेगा हमारा. Then you have more shorter goals, 1 year plans, right? And then you have your lower managers who have operational plans. Oh, boss, next 1 month mein this is what we need to do, and then month 2 this is what we need to do. All this is important because when you read part 1, part 2 also, and more importantly, when you deal with management, when they talk about these things, you should be able to distinguish what's a strategic goal, what's a operational goal. There's there's discussion where it says that if the operational goals are not in line with the, yeah, are not in line with the strategic goals, right, or the strategic purpose, then that is something that should be called out. If you don't know the distinction between strategic goals and operational goals, or strategic activities and operational activities, then you cannot really tell them where it is not in sync and what's the alignment issue, right? So that's the reason why you need to know all of these things. Now, organizational planning. So it has various phases. Any plan has various phases, right? Similar with organizational planning. You have a plan development. You first develop a plan. Let's look at high level. Then you translate the plan. You have a high level plan. Then you have to translate it into components which different departments and people understand. So that's the translation of the plan. Then you make operational planning, that okay, ये plans बन गए, इसको अभी operate कैसे करेंगे. So what's at the operational level, right? Then you have operational planning के बाद आ जाएगा आपका, कहाँ गया, finally you will have monitoring. Operational planning and objectives. and execution, sorry, then there should be something called monitoring. खा गए लगता है. Okay, so the way they have divided the phases is plan, development, translation, operational planning, and execution, right? And then they are saying a D also involve the following when attempting to meet performance targets. इसी के अंदर they have covered the monitoring aspect. Okay, so you have you develop a plan, then you have a translation of the plan, you break it down into operational levels, and then operational levels, and then you execute, and then finally you monitor. So that's the high level view of the phases. Okay, now strategic plan development में पहले क्या होता है? You first develop a mission statement, right? And one of your homeworks is to have a look at a mission statement. Right, let's look at one right now. Apple's mission statement is to create technology that empowers people and enriches their lives. And Apple's vision statement is to make the best products on earth and to leave the world better than we found it. Okay, so that's their vision statement. See how Apple's corporate mission and corporate vision influence its business trends, organizational structure. Right. So I would request you to Google this thoda and read. So what is our mission, right? That has to be clear because unless you have a mission, you can't. So it starts with a vision first of all. Vision is how you see yourself in the very long term. Mission is how you are going to get there. So plan development includes drafting a mission and a vision. Wait a minute, कहाँ गया यार? This thing is irritating me. If you think about this, your vision statement is a more higher version, more 30,000 feet than your mission statement. So if you look at Apple का thing ना, see Apple के case में first look at the vision. What is the vision? To make the best products on earth and to leave the world better than we found it. Like that is how they want themselves to be remembered as. That's their vision. Okay. How will they achieve this vision to make the best products on earth and to leave the world better than we found it? So here is the mission. To bringing the best user experience to customers through innovative hardware, software, and services. Okay. So to achieve this vision, this is their mission. To bring the best user experience to customers through innovative hardware, software, and services will lead them to make the best products on earth and to leave the world better than they found it. Is it clear, guys? Now, can I get a thumbs up? Okay. Now, तो आपका पहले मिशन स्टेटमेंट हो गया प्लान डेवलपमेंट में, राइट? To set the strategic goals and overall plan. Then the translation of the plan at the tactical level includes establishing objectives and plans. So in case of Apple, think about it. Uh, give the best products, that's the vision. Mission kya? Hardware and software, right? उसमें और breakup किया. Hardware means what? What's the hardware? So okay, the hardware is a bunch of laptops, not a bunch of laptops. It's basically wearing devices, so health, right? Education and work and leisure, laptop. Entertainment, to iPad, right? So you have this bunch of categories of products. And then you start translating that plan at the tactical level, the objectives and the plans, then strategy mapping of the objectives and the plans to strategic goals. Means what? You have the strategic goals for each of these categories. So what are the objectives and plans, and what are my strategic goals for that particular product? उसका mapping करते हैं, strategy mapping. Contingency planning, if things don't work out in that particular category, what are we going to do, right? Building scenarios to anticipate what might occur rather than merely reacting to what has already occurred. So what can happen, think about that, then rather than reacting to what has already occurred. Okay. Appointing teams to engage in boundary spanning activities to connect the organization to its external environment. Means what? Business boundary spanning is, what are our boundaries, right? When we talk about comparing it to our external environment, so in what scope of work, or what areas are we operating in? So to do that, you use business intelligence and you use competitive intelligence, which is activities directed towards rival. So boundary spanning is what? Boundary means what? The area in which you are operating. Boundary spanning means across that area you are having a look at two things. You're looking at the competitive landscape and you are collecting business intelligence to see patterns, trends and relationships. So आपका जो plan है, your tactical level plan will consist of what are my objectives and plans, what is the strategy, how all of this matches to the strategy, what happens if in case of a contingency if things don't work out, what are the various scenarios which can come up, what's my business horizon or business landscape looking like, right? That is all part of your translation of the plan at tactical level. Operational planning and execution क्या हो गया? Choosing performance targets at specific, measurable, challenging but reasonably attainable, time limited, related to entities' key performance indicators. So operational planning and control execution will be at that level. Okay. Let's say if I talk about operational level pay HR, right? So how quickly am I onboarding someone? Or what is the cycle time from a request or a requisition for a person all the way up to onboarding, right? How do I stack up against the competition when it comes to the pay levels, right? All those are what? Those are my performance targets, correct? And what the performance target should be, what? Specific, measurable, they should be challenging, time limited and related to key performance indicators. So specific with respect to onboarding, people should be onboarded in 5 working days, right? Can I measure onboarding? 5 working days, 2 working? Yes, I can, right? We should deliver quality products. Is that measurable? No, that's not measurable. So your performance target has to be measurable. What do you mean by quality should be good? Quality should be good means I'll only allow 1 in million pieces to deviate from standards. That's measurable, right? It is specific and measurable. It should be challenging but reasonably attainable. So onboarding people in 5 days is a bit challenging, but it is reasonably attainable, right? If I set up a performance target which is just crazy, go onboard people in 2 days, then it might not be attainable and it might not be reasonable. And then it kind of stops people from moving towards that target very aggressively, right? Because they are like, "ये तो possible ही नहीं है." But if you set up a target which is mildly challenging but attainable, then that really helps, right? It should be limited by time related to the employee's key performance indicator. Everything which can be is specific, measurable, challenging may not be relevant also. Na? It has to be related to the key performance indicator. Key performance indicator means what? A measure which shows how I have performed, and it is important to your overall mission, overall plan. Now, if you have to clear CIA, how many hours of work or how many hours of studies did I put in every day or I put in every day is an important performance indicator, right? How much Netflix did you watch may not be an important indicator. You watch how much you want to watch, but as far as studies are concerned, you have to put in 1 hour of study every day. So that's a key performance indicator, an indicator of the performance that levels that you have set up to meet your objective. Okay, clear so far? Are we good? सही जा रहा है, मजा आ रहा है, नहीं आ रहा है, एग्जाम्पल ज्यादा चाहिए, एकदम बिंदास बोलो, हाँ जो बोलना है वो. If you think I suck, you can tell me I suck. I don't have a problem. Are we good, guys? Okay.
Yes, Ankur.
Chalo. Very
Yes,
good.
Ankur.
Okay. Now how do we meet the performance target? तो उसके लिए there are these various things. Management by objectives, MBO. It's a systemic cooperative method by which employees and managers set goals at all levels, establish action plans, review progress, take corrective action, evaluate final performance. Management by objectives is basically measures people based on whether we have met the objectives or not. So we set the objectives and then we do things. We set the goals, then we set the action plan, then we review progress, then we take corrective action, and then we evaluate final performance. Now, modification of MBA is management by means. It addresses not only measurable goals, but how they are achieved. The principle is that meeting expectations by inappropriate means is self-defeating. So there was a time when MBO was all the rage. I think 80s or 90s, right? Where they says, boss, we don't care about how you go about it, but we should meet the objective. Then came a time where they said that, yeah, it's just meeting the objectives is not sufficient. Businesses need to be responsible, and hence how we meet our objectives is also important. So that is management by means. Okay. Then you have crisis planning. What do you do in crisis planning? Anticipate and prepare for disastrous events. मेजर लेबर स्ट्राइक हो गया तो क्या करेंगे, नेचुरल डिजास्टर हो गया तो क्या करेंगे, फ्लड आ गया अंधेरी में और बैंगलोर में in our factory, then what are we going to do? Our offshore call center in Patna suddenly shuts down because of riots. What are we going to do? Right? So this is all your crisis planning. Crisis planning is consist of two things: crisis prevention and crisis preparation. How are we going to yeah, okay. Crisis prevention is steps to avoid or detect signs of a crisis, first of all. And crisis preparation means if crisis happens, which team is going to handle it, how are they going to handle it, and what will be our emergency communication media. So crisis planning consists of crisis prevention and crisis preparation. Okay. There's still 15 minutes to take a break. Do you want to go? I mean, do you want to continue right now or do you want to take a break? If you want to take a break, give me a thumbs up.
Continue.
Okay, what about others?
Let's continue, Ankur.
Okay, very good. Chalo, continue. So, 15 minutes more and then we'll take a break, okay? Stretch goals. Stretch goals extend so far beyond normal incremental range of goals that they can be attained. And stretch goal, like my boss says, okay, let's keep a stretch goal also. I'm not expecting you to complete it, but let's challenge ourselves, right? That's a stretch goal. But such goals must not be unreasonable if employees are to be inspired, not discouraged. Okay. So, ekdam random Superman, superhuman goal देने का मतलब नहीं है. If someone is, let's say, doing 2 audits at a time, you can tell them that, okay, you can start shadowing on the 3rd audit, right? Rather than saying that start executing on that. That reminds me, just a moment, hold on. Strategic management seeks to obtain competitive advantage. So if we go back to the definition, page 9 page. A strategy is a plan, allocate resources and action to succeed in entity's competitive environment. Second was obtain competitive advantage, right? So strategies should be developed. What is competitive advantage? Competitive advantage is an advantage or a set of traits which differentiates the organization and allows it to be successful in its environment. Now, what can you say? How can you define a competitive advantage? Well, a competitive advantage has 4 aspects to it. A competitive advantage is such that strategies should be developed that target specific customers, right? So when we say that, oh, you know what? Maruti is very good when it comes to price sensitive Indian customers who want to buy cars. That's a competitive advantage, right? Tata is very good if you are a customer who is focused on safety, and Gen Z is focused on safety a lot. Right? They're more paranoid, they are focused on safety a lot more than just cost. They have money to spend. Now they are focusing on other things. They want to be more safe. Our parents didn't have much money, they had lesser money, so for them cheap cars was more important than very safe cars. You guys see the difference?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the competitive advantage that we are talking about. Strategies should be developed that target specific customers whose needs can be met by the organization. Must be able to take advantage of core competencies, the thing it does better than its competitors. So, Maruti is very fast in launching new models or copying models, car models which have been launched abroad. Okay, so that's something that we do very well. What can be the other core competency? If you think about your own self, someone in your department may be very good at Excel and data analytics. That becomes his core competency. Okay. Strategic management is facilitated when managers think synergistically. Synergistically means, so strategic management is held if management thinks synergistically means synergy. Uh, in case of an audit team, right? One person can do good at data analytics, one person is good at information security. Now, if that particular review is about identifying all the breaches, systems breaches or information security breaches that have happened, then these two associates can combine their strength. One can look at what logs need to be reviewed. The other one can use data analytics to identify where there has been a breach, right? So what is happening here? There is synergy. 2 plus 2 is 4, but 2 plus 2, when it comes to effort, it can become 5. The result can be 5, right? That is what synergy is about. So synergy exists when a combination of formerly separate elements has a greater effect than the sum of the individual effect. Okay. Now, what is the different kind of synergies? Market synergy, results and products or services have positive complementary effect. Now, let's say Maruti and Tata merge, and the customers have best of both worlds, right? Or that new company, Tata Maruti, will be both cost competitive and good quality, correct? Cost synergy, or let's say cost synergy reduces cost. It occurs in many ways. For example, recycling. So let's look at cost synergy. Tata has a factory which is underutilized, is only 50% utilized. Maruti has a factory which is running 110. Now, when these companies merge, you will still have unutilized capacity, right? And your overall cost will go down because the 10% which is excess being manufactured at a Maruti plant will now shift to the Tata factory, right? So that is cost synergy. Technological synergy. Tata has electronic vehicle manufacturing facilities. Maruti does not. When they come together, the electronic vehicle manufacturing capability will now be available to Maruti as well, right? So that is technological synergy. Management, and I'm giving you different examples. They have given different examples, so you just have more examples to think about. Plus, you can obviously always Google it. I really want people to use Chat GPT and ask it general questions. If you ask it factual questions, it may sometimes go wrong. It tends to just hallucinate and say bullshit. So don't ask it about facts. Ask questions which you would ask a friend, right? Yeah, what do you mean by synergy? Or give me example of synergy, or give me example of cost synergy between two companies, things like that. Okay. Management synergy involves knowledge transfer. For example, Maruti Suzuki, right? Now it is Maruti, but for years, for decades, it was Maruti Suzuki. What was the idea? The idea was to bring the technological knowledge of a Japanese car manufacturer to India, right? So that was management, that is management synergy and their management mechanism of doing things. Uh, and it involved knowledge transfer from Suzuki to Maruti. Okay. Now then on the operational strategy, again, you have some examples. I'm not reading it. वो आप पढ़ लेना. If you have any questions, let me know. Then we come to SWOT analysis. SWOT is what? Strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats. Maybe you would have seen like a graph. It really helps you in, uh, in basically understanding your strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats. Weaknesses is an area where you can try and improve on reducing, not reducing or removing your weaknesses. And threats is what you need to be careful of and have measures in place to address those threats. So whenever you are in business and when you are studying your competition, it the SWOT analysis tells you how to operate based on your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. So it facilitates development of an overall strategy as a basis for planning to achieve the organization's mission. So हमारा mission क्या है and how are we going to achieve it? And in order to achieve it, what's the SWOT analysis? Let's double down on our strengths. Let's remove our weaknesses. Let's double down on the opportunities and be wary and cautious of the threats. So that is the SWOT analysis. Okay. Then now we'll go on to competitive strategy. But before we go there, we'll take a 10-minute break and we'll come back in some time. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Ankur.
Thanks, guys.
Ankur, I have to travel to office,
Okay.
so I think I will have to drop off. Yeah.
Okay, but make sure that you listen to this and then next time be prepared, huh?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'll be back.
Hi, Ankur.
Hi, Mohan. How are you doing, man?
Ankur, I've taken a break for second paper. Like I'm not feeling well. Actually, I was down with spondylitis. So,
Spondylitis.
yeah, it's very severe. So I couldn't attend classes for paper 2.
Okay, okay.
So given a chance, next time any live sessions, I'll attend for paper 2. For now, like concentrating on paper 3, as like you recommended, like either paper 1 or 3. So thought of start with paper 3.
Okay, okay, cool.
Day 1 preparation and give as soon as possible.
ठीक है, चलो कोई नहीं. Let's move ahead.
Thank you. Ankur, ये membership, like for taking 1 year is okay. Like they have given option like 1, 2, and 3 years, and like you can save some like 2,000 rupees. But for us, like taking for 1 year, is that okay for membership?
Yeah, it is okay.
IAA
I mean,
membership. Yeah.
yeah, I think if you take for 2 years, there's a discount, right?
Sir. Like 1 year, 2 years, and 3 years discount है. Like 2 and 3 years थोड़ा अच्छा discount है. So I'm just thought of asking you like
Yeah, so if money is not a concern, right, and you, I mean, obviously you aim to continue in
Yeah.
internal audit, then I would suggest go for 2 years, na?
Okay, sir. Okay. वो
Okay.
standards को पूरा download करना है, so thought of today go for registration and download those materials and start
Yes,
doing
yes,
it.
yes, yes, yes. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So now we come to competitive strategies. Okay. Competitive strategies is what it influences a firm's relative position in its industry. That is fine, but competitive strategies are basically strategies aimed towards having a competitive advantage or differentiating yourself from the competitor, right? And
Video is off, Ankur.
you have this Michael E. Porter's generic strategies model. It says that the competitive strategies can be a cost advantage or a differentiation advantage, right? For example, Maruti. What advantage does it have? Price. What can be that defined as? That's a cost advantage, right? It has a lower cost of production as compared to, let's say, some of the other companies, right? Uh, Apple, what advantage does it have? It has a differentiation advantage, a unique product when at least it launched its smartphone. Okay. These advantages should be within its competitive scope to achieve its objectives. This scope may be broad, industry-wide, or narrow market segment. So, for example, if we think about if we think about Tesla, it has a broad competitive scope on logistics. Why? Because now they also have self-driving trucks, not just cars. Okay. Using the variables of competitive, so Mohan, I have deliberately kept the video off
Okay.
because I
Okay,
look at
Ankur.
the book. You don't want to see my head. It's not very pretty. So, yeah. Um, yeah, when we talk about this, using the variables of competitive advantage and competitive scope, right? 4 generic strategies may be implemented. This is a nice little box here. You have competitive advantage on the x-axis, competitive scope on the y-axis, and you can actually lay out all the competitors on this grid. So competitive scope, broad, narrow segment, competitive advantage, low cost, unique product. So think about an industry. Let's talk about electronics, right? And electronics may, let's talk about Apple, Samsung, and MI. Okay. So Apple, no, not Apple, Samsung, and which one else? OnePlus, let's say OnePlus. Okay. So if we talk about OnePlus phones, कहाँ आएगा वो? It will come under low cost, narrow segment. Focus strategy is cost. That is where you will get OnePlus. Correct? Broad and unique product. So upper right corner differentiation strategy will be what? Apple. Right? They have got products across health bands, wearable technologies, uh, personal computers, designer tools. So differentiation strategy में आ गया. Samsung कहाँ आएगा? Low cost and broad industry-wide cost leadership strategy. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes.
Okay. Moving on. Cost leadership seeks competitive advantage through lower cost. So what is cost leadership? Simple. Keep your cost lower and become the leader in the market from a cost leadership for sorry, keep the cost low and be known as the cost leader in the market, right? Same thing which was done by Reliance, right? So earlier you had cotton as the main fiber for clothes. Then Reliance came in, started making synthetic clothes at lower cost. So they not only had a cost advantage, they also had an advantage from a differentiation standpoint, right? So they were like the Samsung. They provided variety and they provided it at a lower cost. So cost leadership is a competitive advantage through lower cost. It has broad scope. This firm can earn higher profits than its competitors at industry average price or charge a lower price to increase market share. Correct ना? दोनों चीज कर सकते. If I continue selling what I am selling, then per unit cost, per unit profit will be higher than what others are making. And I also have the ability to reduce the cost to do more work. Right? So, and how can that cost advantage happen? By vertical integration, which is what Reliance did. Exclusive access to low cost materials. Again, Reliance Industries, right? They had all petroleum byproducts. Economies of scale, huge plants, the plant at Jamnagar and these places in Maharashtra as well. Outsourcing, a lot of people relied on them because they gave them a lot of work, right? So that's an example of cost leadership and how cost advantage came into being in case of Reliance Industries. ठीक है? A cost leader usually has low profit margins, high sales, and large market share. Low profit margins per unit they may have low, but absolute they may have high. I mean, they may have huge profits, right? So, for example, Zodiac shirts they sell at 3,500. The way they have marketed themselves is through differentiation and high cost, right? So each Zodiac cost will not cost you less than 2,000 rupees. 2,000, 2,500 is where is the starting price of a new Zodiac shirt. And their differentiation is, and their strategy is differentiation, high cost, quality. Whereas against that, if you look at a Peter England or something else, you may get cheaper shirts because their strategy is different. So per unit profit that let's say Peter England is making may be much less. Maybe they are just making 200 rupees a shirt. Zodiac may be making 1,000 rupees a shirt, right? But the volume which Peter England makes vis-a-vis Zodiac is very different. Peter England may be making tons of sales as compared to a Zodiac, right? But these are just different strategies, different because they cater to different customers and customer sensibilities. Okay. There is a risk involved. Advances in technology or imitation by competitors. Competitors may also do the same. Others may also adopt the same strategy. Failure to consider product and marketing changes. For example, cost advantage must outweigh the differentiation advantages of others. Means what? If you have lower cost, but let's say if you don't have variety, then also you may lose customers, right? So that needs to be kept in mind. So ye ho gaya with respect to cost leadership. Similarly, you have differentiations. I'm not reading it. Apply yourself, read it, think about a situation, talk to me if you want to, right? Or you can just Google differentiation strategy, differentiation competitive strategy examples, right? We can just do that right now. So differentiation strategy is a competitive Apple, Tiffany and Company, Emirates, Hermes, Tesla, Happy Socks, Harley Davidson, right? These are all differentiation strategies. 13 amazing differentiation strategy examples. Okay, guys. I am pasting the link here. Can you have a look at that, guys? Okay. Have you copied the link, everyone? Oh, wait a minute. खाली एक ही बंदे को गया था. Can you copy it now? 13 amazing differentiation strategy examples.
Yes, Ankur.
Now, page 15, they have said something called cost focus. Cost focus seeks lower cost but with a narrow scope. हाँ, तो just खाली ध्यान रखना. There's cost leadership and then there is cost focus. Cost focus में the scope is narrow. Cost leadership is just lower cost, incurring lower cost. तो मैंने जो एग्जांपल दिया ना, नैरो में 1 plus. Okay, so if you look at that graph, if you look at that visual on page 13, under competitive scope you see narrow and competitor advantage you see low cost. So low cost in a narrow segment is OnePlus phones, right? Cost leadership in the electronics domain is Samsung because it has got industry-wide accessories and appliances at a low cost. Clear hai ye?
Yes, Ankur.
So don't confuse the two. Okay. And this is very important. Risk of a low cost focus strategy kya hai? Risk of a differentiation strategy kya hai? The way you will be asked an exam, you will be asked a question in the exam is that they will say that more narrowly focused competitors serving niches better is a risk of differentiation strategy, cost leadership strategy, right? Then cost focus strategy. वैसे करके they will give you 4 examples. So you have to read the risk very carefully. Risk straightforward है, but किसमें क्या risk है वो जरा ध्यान देना है. Advances in technology or imitation by competitors. This is a risk for which kind of a company? This is a risk for a company like Samsung, because Samsung ka style has been copied by Redmi, right? And Oppa or Opus, whatever that is, right? Oppa. And technology has improved, so everyone else has copied it. So cost leadership का वो risk है. So you have to look at these risks very, very carefully. What are the risks? What do these strategies mean? And what are the risks under these strategies? That's the key component that you need to understand here. ठीक है? So fundamental क्या है इसके अंदर? इसके अंदर यही fundamental है. अगर वो लोग पूछेंगे आपको questions about competitive strategy, it will be some question which test your knowledge of what do these competitive strategies mean, or what are the risks under these competitive strategies. Those are the 2 fundamental questions that they will challenge you on. Is it clear, guys?
Yes.
So risk को जरा ध्यान से पढ़ना. Now let's come to growth share matrix. Is a means of analyzing a portfolio of investment in strategic business units. So basically, this matrix helps you analyze the different investments you can make in strategic business units. Okay. Why is this analysis important? This analysis is important because it helps you focus on resource allocation. Kitna resource allocation, where do I need to put my resources? What new business startups or acquisitions I need to make? Do I need to downsize? Do I need to divest? Divest means give up. Right? So for example, when for example Orange Telecom, right, they gave up their telecom business, that's a divestiture. Or when a pharmaceutical company decides to sell its animal husbandry or animal healthcare division, right, to some other company, that's a divestiture. Why? Because that's not their focus, it is not in line with their strategy, it's not in line with their mission. So that is divestiture. So for example, let's say tomorrow if ITC says that, you know what, we don't want to be in the tobacco business now. Globally, smoking is going down. We also don't feel comfortable selling cigarettes now. We're going to, and if you would have seen in the last couple of decades, ITC started diversifying into other products. So ITC is more a FMCG company now than a tobacco manufacturer, right? Now, there will be a time in the future, 20 years, 25 years from now, where it will say that, you know what, cigarettes is not a business we want to be part of, right? So we are going to sell off this business unit. And they may sell it to some Southeast Asian country, Indonesia, Cambodia, wherever, where cigarette smoking is still considered cool. That is a divestiture. Okay. Now let's look at the growth share matrix. Cash cows. Cash means business growth rate is low, right? It relates to the maturity and attractiveness of the market and relative need for cash to finance expansion. So how high maturity, low cash, sorry, uh, low growth and high maturity, those are cash cows. So for example, in case of ITC, your tobacco business is a cash cow, but it has got low growth. Is that clear? Yes. High growth and high market share. Those are my stars. Those are my star products. Okay. High business growth rate, low market share. Okay, question marks. Are weak competitors that need cash infusion from cash cows. A question mark may become a star or a dog depending on whether MS increases significantly. If market share increases significantly, then it may become a star or a dog depending on how the market share is. The market share is not is like, for example, dogs, low market share, low BGR. So there is low growth and it has low market share. So that's a cost. These are weak competitors in low growth markets. They are candidates for disposal. Net cash flow is modest. So this is two ways you can look at it, right? You can look at your competitors' businesses and determine whether these are stars, dogs, question marks, or cash cows, or you can look at your own businesses and decide whether these are stars, dogs, cash cows, and question marks, right? And depending on your strategy and your own positioning, you can then buy or sell these companies. So for example, dogs for you may be stars for your competitor in their strategy. So for example, if you are a company, let's say making footwear, okay, and let's say you are Bata may you also are selling some bags, cloth bags. Now that's a separate department altogether or a separate business unit, let's say, for example. And you think that, oh, why should I take that example? Let me take the example of animal healthcare products. Okay. Now Cadila is a Ahmedabad based pharma company. They have a small healthcare unit also, which they started sometime in the past, thinking that animal healthcare will pick up significantly. And they are not able to strategize properly or not implement their strategy, due to which it is not doing so well. For them, it's a dog. Now imagine Transchem, which is an animal healthcare company, right? And they are the largest player in animal healthcare. Now, as far as Cadila is concerned, they are a significant player in healthcare in general, and in animal healthcare, they only have one division which is not doing that great. So for them, it's a dog which needs to be sold off, right? For Cadila also, it is a dog of for the competitor Transchem also, it's a Cadilla's dog which they can take up, and through synergy it can add value to them, right? Because Cadila is not able to focus on the animal healthcare business. They have a plant which they are not able to completely utilize. They are not able to utilize their distribution channel. They are not able to use their marketing prowess to sell more, or research wing to come up with more animal healthcare products. But Transchem can do all of that. So for Transchem, it becomes a good buy, and for Cadila, it becomes a good sell. Is this clear? How this growth share matrix works? Yes, everyone. मोहन दिलखुश समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं कि बोर हो रहे हो these guys are not there it seems anyway so
I can see the matrix in the Simandhar's Island portal. Growth share matrix.
okay page 16
Yes.
yeah so ये हो गया each SBUs means strategic business unit should have objectives. A strategy should be formulated to achieve those objectives and budget should be allocated. If you have some business which is a cash cow for you, you will use a hold strategy. Question marks, you still don't know the potential. So a build strategy is necessary for a question mark with potential to be a star. Right? Build strategy means what? We will build this business further. Right? Currently it's a question mark. They are weak competitors that need cash infusion from cash cows. I will make it big. And once the business growth increases, the market share will increase. So they will become stars. The question marks will become stars. Then a harvest strategy maximizes short-term net cash flow. Harvesting means zero budgeting R&D, reducing marketing costs, not replacing facilities, etc. This strategy is used for weak cash cows and possibly question marks and dogs. Means what? यार इस पे खर्चा मत करो, हार्वेस्ट करो. हार्वेस्ट करो means what? Whatever cash you have, get this cash by reducing marketing cost. Don't replace the facilities. Don't do anything of that sort, so that we can invest in the high growth or the stars, basically. A divest strategy is normally used for question marks and dogs that reduce the firm's profitability. So dogs और question marks को थोड़ा टाइम पालोगे, उसके बाद बोलोगे चलो यार इसको बेचूं क्या, right? So that I can start investing in my stars and I can continue managing the cash cows. Now let's look at structural analysis of industries. An economy consists of what? Sectors, industries, and segments. Okay. Examples of sectors are what? The healthcare sector or the transportation sector of the economy. Within each sector are multiple industries. So this is the, the hierarchy is this way, right? You have a sector, then you have industries, and under that you have then segments, right? तो आपका सेक्टर हो गया ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, your industry is automobile, your sector is passenger vehicles, segment, right? Passenger vehicles or sports vehicles. Similarly, another sector is electronics, right? Electronics में आ गया you have let's say computation industry, computational industry, electronics, or you can have wearables. No, wearables is a segment. So industry, within electronics, you are talking about industry कौन सा? Consumer electronics, right? And within that segment is wearable tech. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
So that's the structural analysis of industries. पहले तो सेक्टर के नीचे इंडस्ट्री के नीचे सेगमेंट. So Michael E. Porter has developed a model of structure of industries and competition. It includes an analysis of the 5 competitive forces that determine long-term profitability as measured by long-term return on investment. So he's developed this competitive strategies and Porter's 5 forces. We can read that on page 18. If you combine different generic strategies, you may be stuck. For example, cost leadership and differentiation. दोनों try करोगे, then it may either you may not meet any of the goals. Even if the firm could succeed by following multiple generic strategies, the result might be an ambitious public image. Ambiguous, not ambitious. Ambiguous. Ambiguous means what? Unclear. You don't know what these people are. For example, in my mind, I think Videocon is a bit of an ambiguous. अभी तो नहीं रहा. But Videocon was a bit of an ambiguous, had a bit of an ambiguous public image. I didn't know what exactly are they into manufacturing TVs, other electronics, or real estate, right? It was a bit confusing. But you can pursue multiple generic strategies and you can succeed if you have separate strategic business units to implement each strategy. So that is why, for example, in case of Reliance Jio is now a separate entity. Earlier it was with Telecom, right? So companies then create different strategic business units, because to support that strategic business unit, you require different structures, different set of people, different set of operational plan, competitive strategy. Everything is different. So it doesn't make sense to have it under one entity, whereby the same processes, policies may not apply to all sorts of businesses which the entity is doing, right? So entity can succeed if there are separate business units. When you are following multiple generic strategies, you can have separate strategic business unit to implement each strategy. Okay. So combination strategies के बारे में बाकी थोड़ा पढ़ लेना. That's fine. Let's look at competitive strategies and Porter's 5 forces. Porter's generic strategies are responses to the 5 competitive forces. So what are the 5 competitive forces? Established firms. So rivalry among established firms. How do you respond to that? Cost leadership permits a firm to compete by charging lower prices. Differentiation strengthens brand loyalty. And focus strategies provide superior attention to customer needs, whether for quality, price, or other product attributes. So that's the first strategy. When you're talking about 5 competitive forces, the first competitive force is rivalry, right? And wait a minute, let me just switch my. Okay. So I was saying the first competitive force is rivalry among established firms, and the generic responses are around cost, differentiation, and each of these strategies will cater to a different objective. For example, if you have differentiation when it comes to rivalry among firms, if one firm differentiates it between uses a differentiation strategy, then it will strengthen its brand loyalty, right? If it is a cost leader, then and if I'm dealing with competitors, I can reduce my prices to increase my market share, right? Now, threats of new entrants, that is a competitive force. So against that, if I have cost leadership, I can reduce prices to put a barrier against potential entrants. So new entrants can, like for example, if you are going to deal with, let's say, Reliance Industries, right? If you deal with Reliance Industries and you decide that you want to get into the PPE or the plastic pallet manufacturing business, right? Because they are integrated, vertically integrated as well as backward integrated, means what? पेट्रोलियम रिफाइन करने से, मतलब ड्रिल करने से लेके रिफाइन करने से लेके बाई प्रोडक्ट्स निकालने से लेके ट्रेडिंग करने का, एंड देन making pallets, yarn, fiber, everything, and then selling it, using it, selling it, exporting it, ये सारा वो लोग करते हैं. एंड उससे मैन्युफैक्चर्ड प्रोडक्ट्स, दे आर बोथ वर्टिकली इंटीग्रेटेड and backward integrated, right? Their costs are very low. So a new company coming in and trying to do that, if they try to do that, Reliance can always reduce their prices further to put a barrier uh, to the potential customers, right? So that's the way threat of new entrants can be handled. Now, when I look at you, can you see me looking at you right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, na? Okay. ठीक है. So, yeah, threat of substitutes. If someone comes up with a substitute, so if you are a cost leader, you can lower prices that substitutes cannot match, right? Uh, so, for example, Samsung. Samsung was a cost leader is a cost leader in case of electronics. Now, let's say if an MI comes up with a 5,000 rupee phone. So what does Samsung do? Because it's a cost leader, it comes up with its own series of low cost phones. So what has it done? It has basically uh, lowered the prices which the substitutes cannot match, right? It may, if you are one of those guys who are in differentiation, then may create unique product service attributes not found in substitutes. For example, Apple, right? You have Apple Drop, or you have Apple Pay, or you have iMusic. All of those features, or a superior camera, all of those features others don't have, that only Apple has. Or no questions return policy, right? Those were, some of those features are now copied by others as well, but the point is those were features which differentiated Apple from others. So they created a unique product service attributes not found in other substitutes, not in Samsung. Focus strategies develop core competencies or unique product attributes that may protect against substitutes and new entrants. Focus strategies develop core competencies and unique product attributes means in their limited uh, segment, their focus segment, they will do something differently or develop core competencies or unique product attributes which are not found in others. Okay, then you have bargaining power of customers. That's also a competitive force, right? Cost leadership, I can remain profitable if I reduce the prices. Differentiation may reduce the power of strong buyers because of uniqueness of the product and the resulting lack of close substitutes. May reduce the power of strong buyers. Matlab kya? I am a very strong buyer. I have money. I can buy anything, right? An Apple is a differentiator. The Apple will be like, okay, uh, I'm not going to reduce my prices. Okay, people want, they can buy my phone at whatever X ridiculous amount, one kidney per phone cost, right? Because they are using the differentiation strategy to deal with bargaining power of customers. Okay. Focus strategies also may reduce buyers' ability to negotiate in a narrow market. Substitutes may not be able to compete on price, quality, etc. We basically see focus strategy is a combination of cost, leadership, and differentiation, right? But in a very focused segment. तो आप एक focused OnePlus का Apple replica at that cost, no one can give. Apple can't reduce that cost. Samsung can't provide that quality. So OnePlus is at that particular. Uh, that's the way they have placed themselves. Like the quality of Apple, but the price of a Samsung or lesser, right? So that is where they are. So they have a focus strategy on phones. अभी चल नहीं रहा है उनका, but you see my point. You can also say MI is like that. MI for that matter. Bargaining power of suppliers. Cost leadership provides protection from strong suppliers. Boss, like for example, Reliance के साथ no vendor can quote any price. Reliance decides what you should earn. And I'm not like I'm being really candid right now. Okay, when Reliance buys, and I've audited Reliance, so I know when Reliance buys services, they do that in bulk, and what they do is they tell the vendors कि भाई ये चाहिए हमको, तुम्हारा cost breakup दो. What are you going to charge us? You give us the breakup. So people are supposed to tell that okay, इतना मेरा resources लगेगा, इतना मेरा consumables होगा, इतना मैं margin बनाऊंगा, right? And then Reliance is like नहीं नहीं है, इतना cost थोड़ी होता है. It can't be 100 rupees. You need to do it in 90 rupees. Your overheads cannot be 20 rupees. It has to be 15 rupees, right? Profit margin, oh, it cannot be 15%. It can be 10%. Same way with Amazon. And Amazon deals with all these different vendors who place products on their site. Amazon has the power to bargain. Are you getting me, guys? So bargaining power of suppliers. Differentiation may permit a firm to increase its price. Cost leadership provides protection from strong suppliers. Boss, I have cost leadership and I'm selling in bulk. This is what you can charge me. तू नहीं तो कोई और, right? Differentiation में supplier ने price increase कर दिया. Oh, you know what? There has been an increase in there has been a global shortage in what was that? We shortage था ना? Chips, right? So there is increase in price, and I will also increase in price. क्योंकि तुम एप्पल ही यूज करोगे, एप्पल नहीं यूज करोगे तो क्या यूज करोगे? एप्पल जैसा क्वालिटी, फिनिश, brand, status, you will not get in any other phone. Because you are hooked on to Apple, even if the cost increases by a further $50, $100, you will pay it. The differentiation permits the firm to do that. Focus strategies must allow for superior bargaining power of suppliers when sellers operate in a narrow, low volume market. For example, focus differentiation may permit the firm to pass along suppliers' price increases. I told you it's a mix of cost leadership and differentiation. You can bargain better, at the same time जो increase है you can pass on to the competitor. Firm orientations. Product-centered firms focus on the product. Competitor-centered firms focus on competitors. So for example, competitor-centered firms, अगर आप देखोगे तो you have all the CFA agents, clearing and freight forwarding agents, right? They are what competitor-focused firms. Or in Bombay, if you go to Manish Market, then there's this huge cloth market. Okay, same kind of shop selling saris and dress material. I am sure Bangalore maybe have aisa, right? The same kind of shop selling all this material, right? They are competitor centered. अरे उधर 200 में मिल रहा है, मैं भी 200 में बेचूंगा, right? Or they have started selling at 175. I'll also start selling at 175. So they basically base their moves on competitors' actions and reactions. वो लोग क्या करते हैं वैसा अपन करेंगे, right? Product-centered firms focus primarily on the product. Apple doesn't care what others are doing. They do care, but like you know what I mean, right? Their focus is on their product. Customer-centered firms focus on customer development and delivering value to customers. I would say. And then there are companies which are a mix of both. Like I would say Apple is very much customer centered, very product centered, and little competitive centered, right? And market centered firms watch both customers and competitors. Find the balance between customers and competitors is the most effective orientation in today's market. Competitors क्या कर रहे हैं, customers को क्या चाहिए, and a mix match of everything. ठीक है? With this, we've completed this subunit. There are 10 questions on page 29. So make sure that tomorrow when you come to class, you should have completed it. And then I want someone to ask me some questions if they have any doubts in any of the questions. Is it clear?
Yes, Ankur. Ankur, just a quick thing. Are you referring to 2023 version of CLEM?
No, I think this is a 2022 version.
Okay, because it's quite different from 2023 because certain things are not available in 2023.
Are not available in 2023.
Yes.
Can you do one thing? Can you send me a picture on Telegram of the table of contents?
Yeah, sure. I'll do that.
And meanwhile, what I will do is I'll also ask for the part 3 2023 version.
Okay, fine. Okay, no worries. I'll do that.
Okay.